Contemplation means rest, suspension of activity, withdrawal into the mysterious interior solitude in which the soul is absorbed in the immense and fruitful silence of God and learns something of the secret of God's perfection, less by seeing than by fruitful love. Words from the Venerable Thomas Merton. Good morning. Welcome to Cross Street Chapel's Sunday service. I'm the Reverend Cody Coyne. I'm grateful for your presence here, both in person as well as those who are listening online. I'm grateful for your journeys here, however they've been, if they've been smooth or if they've been caught up in the traditional Mancunian Sunday roadworks and traffic and construction. I'm grateful for the interior journeys that have led you here today, and hope that whatever it is that you seek in this space, be it a space of joy and celebration and laughter, a space of sorrow and repose and tears, perhaps you've come just looking for a few words of wisdom, or maybe simply just a chance to rest with the divine. Whatever it is that you have come seeking in this space, I hope it will be found, as well as a warm community. As you might tell from our opening words, today we're looking at sort of the notion of rest, hibernation, that suspension of activity, its challenge and necessity at times. But before we delve further into that, we turn to the lighting of our chalice, which is the Unitarian Ritual, marked across the globe by Unitarian chapels, churches, and meeting houses today and through the course of the week. So a few words to light our chalice. Give us this space to inquire about the world, to learn how to better serve humankind, to celebrate joyous moments and the victories of life, to mourn the losses that have been so dear to us, to rest in the stillness of your presence, to be guided by your vibrant energy, and to enjoy in sacred community. And so, with our chalice lit, I invite you to sing together our first hymn in the Purple Book, number 158, The Flame of Truth is Kindled, by the Reverend Cliff Reed, hymn number 158. Before we move too far into the service, I do want to note as well that we have a communion after today's regular service. The way in Unitarian tradition, communions are neither required nor barred from anyone. So if you want to participate, you're welcome to. If you wish to not, or if you wish to simply observe, that's absolutely fine. I'll explain more about the process when it comes to that period after the service, but I just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up. So let us turn now to a time of prayer with these words of Margaret Cape. The journeys of our lives are never fully charted. They come to each of us, deserts to cross, barren stretches, where the green edge of the horizon may be our destination, or an oasis on the way, or a mirage that beckons only to leave us lost. When fear grips the heart, or despair bows the head, may we bend as heart and head lead us down to touch the ground beneath our feet. May we scoop up some sand into our hands and receive what the sand would teach us. It holds the warmth of the sun when the sun has left our sight, as it holds the cool of the night when the stars have faded. Hidden among its grains are tiny seeds, at rest and waiting, dormant yet undefeated. Desert flowers, they endure, moistened by our tears and by the rains which come to us to end even the longest drought. They send down roots and they bloom. May we believe in those seeds and in the seeds within us. May we remember in our dry seasons that we too are desert flowers. Amen. And I invite you to join with me in reciting our covenant, which you can find in your order of worship. We gather here in sacred fellowship to witness the fullness of our lives and all life, to hold and be held, tell stories and listen, to be renewed and renew the world. We speak with care and patience. We act with gentleness and compassion. We forgive each other and ourselves. In faith that we build beloved community, we renew our covenant today. Amen. Our first reading today is by Vanessa Rush Southern. So much undone, so much to do, so much to heal in us and the world, so much to acquire: a meal, a healthy body, a fit one, a lover, a job, a better job, proof we have and are enough just around the corner of now. And up against it, the reality of all that falls short and the limits of today. We honor the limits. If your body won't do what it used to, for now let it be enough. If your mind won't stop racing or can't think of the word, let it be enough. If you are here utterly alone and in despair, be all that here with us. If today you cannot sing because your throat hurts or you don't have the heart for music, let it pass. When the offering plate goes round, if you don't have money to give or heart to give, let it pass. The world won't stop spinning on her axis if you don't rise to all occasions today. Love won't cease to flow in your direction. Your heart won't stop beating. All hope won't be lost. You are part of the plan for this world's salvation. Of that I have no doubt. The world needs its oceans of people striving to be good, to carry us to the shores of hope and wash fear from the beachheads and cleanse all wounds so they can heal. But oceans are big, and I am sure there are parts that don't feel up to the task of the whole some days. Rest, if you must, then, like the swimmer lying on her back who floats, or the hawk carried on cushions of air. Rest in pews made to hold weary lives and space carved out for the doing of nothing much, but being. Perhaps then you will feel in your bones, in your weary heart, the aching, healing sense that this is enough. Even this, that we are enough. You are enough. Enough. So Much Undone by Vanessa Rush Southern. You now have a chance to share your trials and your triumphs, your joys and your sorrows. If you wish to share these publicly, please come forward and light a candle. You can come to the microphone if you have a few words to share, so that those listening online will be able to participate as well. And if you are online, please type into the chat box and I will read out what you have written. If you wish to light a candle in silence, you are welcome to do so. And as always, if you prefer to hold your joys and your sorrows in your heart, know that your presence here is enough. I wanted to light a candle for someone my mom wrote last night, saying there was someone from my childhood, my very early childhood, just a bit sort of beyond that sort of period of consciousness, named Charles Plumpkin, who died quite suddenly and sort of tragically young because of a heart attack. So I light a candle for him.
I'm lighting this candle for a person that I didn't know, but I hope they come please. Hi. Today's the 6 months anniversary of my grandma passing, so I just want to light a candle in remembrance of her.
I'd like to light a candle on behalf of our son-in-law, Phil, whose health is rather problematical at the moment.
So I lit a candle for my mum because this week I was able to take some time off and spend some time in Liverpool and do things like looking through old photographs of family and that sort of thing. So that was a really lovely thing to be able to do.
For all those joys and sorrows here spoken, and those that remain silently in our hearts. Let us turn now to our second hymn, number 21, Come and Find the Quiet Center. Shirley Orena Murray's Come and Find the Quiet Center. Thank you. We turn to our second reading now, Kent Nurburn's The Eloquence of Silence. The silence is profound this morning. It is not portentous. There seems to be nothing in the waiting. It is a gentle silence, liquid and pastel, a shimmer on still waters. It is good to listen to the silence that surrounds each day. In the same way that music is made alive by the silence that surrounds the notes, a day comes alive by the silence that surrounds our actions. And the dawn is the time when silence reveals herself most clearly. I once met a man who was raised on the Canadian prairies. We got to talking about the open space and how it had shaped his spirit. When the wind stops, he says, it is so loud that everyone pauses to listen. The thought intrigued me. How could the end of a sound be loud? But when I traveled to those prairies, I began to understand. For the people in the great prairies, the sound they hear, the music that underlies their lives, is the constant and ever-present howl of the wind. To them, it is no sound at all. When it is removed, the silence takes a different shape, and all are aware of it. All pause to hear. We need to pay heed to the many silences in our lives. An empty room is alive with a different silence than a room where someone is hiding. The silence of a happy house echoes less darkly than the silence of a house of brooding anger. The silence of a winter morning is sharper than the silence of a summer dawn. The silence of a mountain pass is larger than the silence of a forest glen. These are not fantasies. They are subtle discriminations of the senses. Though all are absence of sound, each silence has a character of its own. No meditation better clears the mind than to listen to the shape of the silence that surrounds us. It focuses us on the thin line between what is there and what is not there. It opens our hearts to the unseen and reminds us that the world is larger than the events that fill our days. Into this morning's silence comes the first call of a bird. I listen carefully. It cuts through the silence like a rainbow through the dawn. And so we'll have a meditation, followed by a period of silence and concluded with a musical interlude. Let us enter into a mutual hibernation of thought, dreams, recollections, and reflection. Let us take its influence on us and hold strong to the experiences which we know. Let us leave our mark as best as we are able upon friends and colleagues. Let us borrow what we need for only the moment, taking with the intention of leaving. As sojourners of all, let us take faith in the paths we choose, that we may not be alone, that we may leave our best impressions and intentions, that we may find and take opportunities for growth, for compassion, and for understanding. Let us enter into this mutual hibernation with the faith that it and all it entails will hold us until we return. And so we enter into a period of silence for reflection, meditation, contemplation, and personal prayer. Thank you, Alan. We turn now to our next hymn in the Purple Book, number 28, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design, Nancy Dorian's hymn number 28, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design. It's nice not having to play and sing at the same time, must be said. I can do one at a time. I first came to the UK 16 years ago, a bright-eyed, enthusiastic, and perhaps somewhat naive young person. I remember the plane making its descent in late August, brilliant sunshine and an absolutely clear day. That's not what it's normally like, the passenger next to me proclaimed. I suppose they were trying to prep me for disappointment. However, I was still in love with the city weeks and months later, and I did not find my enthusiasm necessarily lacking. There was, however, a descent of my spirit, and this came in February. February, especially for those first several years, came to be the most difficult month for me. I would find myself feeling blue, perhaps even described as depressed, perhaps even despondent. My enthusiasm would gradually be supplanted by lethargy, with the prospect of getting out of bed becoming more difficult as the month progressed. And I would become irritable, grumpy, more so than usual, though you would have to check with Catherine about that. For a while, I had attributed this to the challenges that I was facing in my life. My early ambitions were drifting away. The subsequent challenges were feeling unscalable. This interpretation gained a foothold later on as my life carried on and new occupations and passions filled my life. February gradually became less and less difficult, and it must be because I had found my life's purpose. Looking back, though, I see the likelihood of another take. We reside further north than my childhood state of Michigan, and so the winters, though more temperate and less snowy here, do possess a greater degree of darkness. Night encroaches earlier and earlier, and this darkness lasts for longer and longer. Even as the night now recedes, I think its timing still caught me off guard, especially that sort of culture shock of coming here 16 years ago. So I now consider this early period of my British life to have been influenced by seasonal affective disorder, known as SAD. The accumulation of darkness through the winter months became unbearable for me. I could hold out through January, but this month caught me out. For several years, I struggled with a general blueness and a lackluster view of life, and was always a bit surprised when, in spring, it seemed to just naturally dissipate, like a morning fog disappearing with the sunshine. And I don't necessarily find the month as difficult, though it may be because I'm guarded by its arrival. Perhaps I'm not so naive as I was 16 years ago. My brother, still occupying a residence several degrees south of here, relishes February, suggesting that it is good for dancing, color and light, and making hot chocolate. And I don't disagree with that final sentiment, though I do appreciate people who may wish to remain under covers. For some, February requires hibernation. In the States, we pull out of the blanketed ground a groundhog on February 2nd to determine if spring will arrive early. This year, Puxatawny Phil, as he's called, predicted a predictable 6 more weeks of winter, which for me is all well and good. I'll leave the dancing and the color and the light for another, more enthusiastic soul. A friend similarly loves February. She bought daffodils on Tuesday to mark Imbolc. This is a pagan holy day that is halfway between the winter solstice and the vernal equinox. So you might think we are halfway to high summer. Why all the jackets then? It's nearly June. In reality, we still have a lot of darkness to conquer. But this is perhaps the point where the gradual change begins to feel more substantive. We notice the light more and more, and its return feels more evident in our mornings and our evenings. Imbolc heralds the return of Brigid and is seen as the earliest signs of spring. Buds are starting to appear. Animals are slowly returning to the fields, producing milk and kids. One theory of the word Imbolc comes from the term for ewe's milk. So the world, for us at least, is starting to awaken. And perhaps not just seasonally. Though we are still battling variants and keeping our eyes on infection rates and keeping our hearts open to those who are ill or who have passed away, there is a gradual opening up of life, of increased activity. The enthusiasm and the eagerness to engage in pre-pandemic life is certainly there. We've seen it in our recitals, for instance. I feel it when I venture out into meetings. Maybe I'm waxing romantic about 2 years of a pandemic, though. Because just as we anticipate the joy of live music or celebrate the joining of friends, we also see the renewed injustices of the world. We see the hatred and the vitriol in the streets. We see the oppression and the aggression against marginalized and vulnerable. And we likely feel an urgency to respond. And there are so many crises. There's climate, economic, curtailment of human rights, there's military buildup. It can all feel overwhelming. Like that groundhog, I want to just, wish for 6 more weeks of winter. Having put my head above the parapet, I consider next burying it in the sand. Is that so wrong? With so much pain and malice, how can I justify this feeling? Well, don't forget those words of Vanessa Rush Southern. Let your body be enough. Let your mind be enough. This building is here for you to do not much, when not much is what is needed. Just as the challenges faced by the world are diverse, so too are those called to create justice. And there are many of us with many gifts. And so when you are called by your body to rest, rest assured there are others clocking in for the night shift. As you close your eyes, there will be others waking up. The ocean is large, as she writes, and parts of it may not be up to the task today. And that's fine. Instead, take some time to listen to that silence. Again, just as the world is diverse, so too is the silence. And engaging with it, exploring it, leaning into it, and being subsumed by it is restorative. Kent Nurburn's words. No meditation better clears the mind than to listen to the shape of the silence that surrounds us. So if February is a month for you, a month of celebration, then that's great. Dance, sing, share color and flowers and love and light. But if February is still a month of rest, of restoration, of rejuvenation, of reclamation, of recreation, and resurrection, honor that too. Just as vital to the words are the silences that give them meaning. Just as vital to our lives, periods of activity, are our periods of rest. Amen. A few notices before we conclude our service. If you're in need of pastoral care, please speak with me, or you can write to minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk. Please write as well if you wish to participate in our service, such as providing a reading or flowers. We have a sign-up sheet as well, which still has a lot of blank spaces, it has to be said. So I'm grateful for anyone able to contribute in those capacities, including things such as the IT. We have an excellent IT group here, and thank you, William, for taking that on today at short notice. And how has it been today? Because last week, it's been fine? Yes. Last week there was a slight hiccup, which I think we've resolved. That being said, we try to make it as smooth and as easy for everyone. So, even if you're not sort of one for technology, do consider helping out in that way as well. And if you've just joined us, you are welcome to join our mailing list. You can speak with me, or you can write to minister@crossstreetchapel.org.uk. As I said, there is communion for anyone who wishes to participate. There's also tea and coffee. And thank you to Joe for setting that up, which will be after the service. We're grateful for any donations that can assist the mission of our chapel. You can donate online at tinyurl.com/crossstreetdonate. You can donate here via our retiring collection. We have envelopes available if you are a UK taxpayer and wish to contribute gift aid. If you wish to be part of a sort of longer-term envelope scheme, please let us know, and we can set you up with a regular supply of envelopes. Our Friday lunchtime recital is the 25th of February, and we welcome the cellist Daria Dorothea, who's going to wow us with Bach. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and she's going to be talking about the music as well, so it's going to be a real delight for us. And if you have seen our YouTube page, last month's recital is up there. pianist whose name suddenly... Thank you, Daniel Rapota. The pianist Daniel Rapota. I missed the recital, unfortunately. I've heard absolutely phenomenal things. All our recitals are stellar. They're free to attend, but we're grateful for any donations that assist the musicians in the pursuit of their livelihoods. We have our new newsletter out. Thank you to Adam for acting as our editor, and he has asked that people be notified if they want to give contributions. Do you want to say how to contact you, or just to contact you?
Yes, I just email. I don't you have anything that you'd like to be included in the newsletter. Just let me know. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements? Is that the AGM? Yes. Our AGM is the 20th of March, Sunday the 20th of March. We're always looking for people to join our committee, so please do let us know if you're interested in that. So we come now to our final hymn, number 104, Name Unnamed by Brian Wren, hymn number 104. Thank you to Alan for the music. Thank you to Sonia for the flowers, to Eleanor for greeting, to William for the IT, to Joe for the tea and coffee, and thank you to all of you for creating and sharing worship today. Before I say the benediction, with communion, Alan is going to play his regular postlude. If you don't wish to stay, you can go and have the tea and coffee. If you do wish to stay and participate in communion, please sit in this front row. If you wish to stay and just watch, which is absolutely fine, we welcome that, stay in any of the subsequent rows. And then we'll have a short communion service. But before that, words from the Act of Herodo. Love alone diminishes not, but shines with its own light, makes an end to discord, softens the fire of hate, restores the peace of the world, brings together the sundered, redresses wrongs, and injures none. None can endure which has not its foundations upon love. Amen.